On this next screen, you will be able to select each class from which you will group students. Your first step is to determine how you'd like to group students. You can group within a class, cross-class, or cross-grade. Remember that our recommendation is to group cross-class. Start with one grade level at a time, then drag all of the classes into the pool. Here you see that at No Time Elementary, we decided on cross-class grouping in first grade. So I'm selecting all of the first grade classrooms. Determine the number of burst groups you will need based on how many students you will put in burst. Keep in mind that we recommend no more than 5 students per burst group. So divide your total number of students by 4.5 to get an approximate number of burst groups you need to create. Select the number of burst groups from the drop-down menu. Then you can click on Edit your grouping preferences. Here you can opt to filter out students whose risk level is benchmark, above benchmark, or not available. Be sure to check all the boxes under risk level. This is because you have already selected which students should get burst from your own screener. Therefore, all students who are in the hallway or who are currently showing up in MClass should be placed into burst groups. Determine if you want to filter out students with IEPs or English language learners. Some students with IEPs have other intervention programs already specified on their IEP. You can opt to exclude those students from being grouped. Some ELLs might only qualify for a language-based intervention program, such as oral language development programs, instead of a reading skills intervention. You can choose to exclude ELL students from your burst grouping as well. You will probably leave all of these boxes checked. As we've mentioned earlier, you have screened your students for burst, and all students who are showing up in the hallway should be grouped. You see here that we will include everyone by default, and we can always drag out individual students if necessary. Select your preferred group size. Remember that we recommend no more than 5 students per group. Once you have edited your grouping preferences, click on Create Groups and let the burst algorithm do its work over the next minute. The burst algorithm does an item-level analysis to determine where each student is on the reading skills progression. After the analysis is complete, burst determines which specific skills each student needs to work on and who else is at the same point in the progression. It then forms homogeneous groups of students according to the specifications you entered. You may see this red triangle on one or more students. If this happens, it may mean that the student needs to work on an earlier skill. If you hover your mouse over it, you will see what the skill is. Here for Jenny, we see that she needs to work on phonological awareness and letter sounds, according to Burst's skills profile, but that her current group will focus on letter sounds and blending. If you click on the skills, you will see the Burst Reading Skills-based model, which shows you that phonological awareness will not be covered in this group's skills. There are 3 groups that cover the skills that Jenny needs, phonological awareness and letter sounds, but she was not placed in one of these as we selected our preferred group size to be capped at 5 students. You can manually drag her into one of these 3 groups above if the interventionist is okay to have 6 students in the group. That will also reduce group 4 to 4 students. If we scroll down, we see this red triangle again in group 10. Here, setup needs to work on letter sounds and blending, so we will manually move him to group 9, which will address those 2 skills. Once you've made these adjustments, be sure to click Save, and you're all set for this grade level. For now, you will keep yourself as the teacher, and once we have figured out the scheduling, then you can go back in the system to edit the burst instructor and assign the groups to the right interventionist.